Welcome, investors, to Stocks to Watch. I'm Ashley Berry, and today we're joined by Ali Haji, CEO of American Tungsten, trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange as TUNG, over the counter in the United States as TUNGF, and the Frankfurt Exchange under RK90. So American Tungsten is really advancing its position in one of the world's most strategically important markets for critical minerals, with tungsten playing an essential role in everything from defense to aerospace, energy systems, even industrial applications. And with North American supply really becoming increasingly significant, this is certainly a company many investors are keeping an eye on, or should keep an eye on. So Ali, without further ado, welcome to Stocks to Watch. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Good to be back, Ashley.
Yes, and you're coming out with some big news. So let's start with your recent announcement for the changes to your board of directors with Duncan Blount joining the team. Tell us a little bit more about his experience and why he's a really great fit for American Tungsten right now. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Well, a couple of reasons. He is a serial mining entrepreneur, US-based, has spent a bit of time, was raised in Tennessee, but now lives in Florida. Importantly, the chief executive officer of Chilean Cobalt Corporation, which is, as you know, another critical metal. He's an advisor to Ocean Metals, which is looking at undersea nodule mining. So he does have a vast amount of experience dealing with government agencies for critical metals in the United States. So we see him as a very strong addition to our board that would ultimately unlock a fair bit of value with either government agencies, but also his technical expertise.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. And another big piece of news coming out today, October 31st, Halloween, the company completed its second tranche of its non-brokered life offering. So how does this additional capital really change your near-term priorities or project timelines, would you say?
I would just like to touch on the fact that it was primarily institutionally backed at a price of $2.58, so at a price higher than we're trading at today in the market. So a lot of strong support with our narrative and what we're trying to achieve. In terms of the capital and the use of that capital, the intent is to speed up our rehabilitation efforts, put more drills on the ground to prove up the historical resource and expand that resource to a longer life of mine translation. And importantly, to fast track all the technical studies from metallurgy to flow sheets and everything that allows us to meet that goal of being in production by the end of next year. So a very strong balance sheet to allow us to execute. And work is underway. We've had a team on site last week, and we expect to put out operational updates and assay results from our drilling on an ongoing basis.
And we're talking about specifically the IMA Mine, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and as you said, you recently announced the successful completion of the rehabilitation work there. It's a D-level audit. Maybe you could explain a little bit more about that. And can you tell us about the program and the importance of these accomplishments, and maybe touch on some key milestones for the IMA Mine?
Of course. So the two audits that are in the system today are the D level and the zero level. The D level is about 400 meters above the zero level. Zero level has been rehabilitated down to about 200 feet. The D level over 1,000 feet. The intent of rehabilitating both levels is that we can mine at the D level, which is 400 meters higher in elevation, use the manway that connects the D level to the zero level to move the ore and pull out all of the ore body from the zero level, reducing the cost and OPEX associated with the switchback. It also allows us to ensure that there's ventilation through the system, and we have air running through the system. We pump up our diesel, our water, and our air lines from the zero level up to the D level, making it a vastly safer and more efficient environment to operate in.
Okay, terrific. And I understand there's already interest from potential offtake customers. How advanced are those conversations, would you say? And what kind of strategic value do you think they could bring to the project?
Well, it's important to have an off-taker. I think, tungsten is one of the few minerals that the government would actually look to acquire on its own, given its very critical use in defense. However, we started working with GTP over 3 months ago to have them provide interest in being an off-taker. GTP, for our listeners, is one of the largest APTs in the world. They, in fact, are a large shareholder of Almonty as well, which is the largest tungsten company by market cap. So we do have GTP with an LOI that we would convert to a more binding type agreement. But I will say that there are other off-takers that are of prominence that we're currently in conversation with as well.
Excellent. And so, earlier in our conversation, you talked about Duncan Blount, his appointment to the company on the board. You also talked about his expertise in the government space. So I'd like to kind of understand, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers would as well, about, your plans for government engagement and really just how important tungsten is and the essential role it plays, as I mentioned earlier, in defense and aerospace, et cetera.
Mhm. So, government agencies require tungsten primarily for defense applications. The high tech world requires tungsten for all these data centers that we're building. You actually have tungsten in those microchips. It's also required for nuclear energy, given its high melting point and hardness. It's used in nuclear reactors. So, it has far reaching uses, including commercial aviation. And given China has restricted its exports for over 2 years, the price has continued to climb. We found, in North America, for example, all tungsten production ceased in 2015 when China flooded the market with cheap tungsten. So we do have the mines. IMA is different because it is on private patented land and probably has the fastest path to production of any mine in North America from a tungsten perspective. So government agencies are very interested in what we're trying to achieve by bringing tungsten back online with IMA. We are speaking with the various government agencies to unlock non-dilutive capital for us to advance our project, as well as some potential low-interest debt solutions that allow us to advance our project. It's a $25 million capex to restart the mine. Not a large number, and not a $500 million, which I'd like to think of as 500 million ways to fail. So with 25 million as our capex, a lot of government interest in terms of getting us over the finish line. And all I would say to our listeners is stay tuned to hear from us with respect to those engagements.
Yes, and we wish you absolutely the best of luck. And I really like how you mentioned the data center component and how important it is, because I think for our viewers and listeners, they know that I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, and the data centers that are going up, it is just unbelievable in the Virginia area when you see the communities and you just see how important it is. I don't know that people really understand that. So I think I think it was of great value that you mentioned that. So Ali, I would ask you, three short statements for those that may be just learning about the company or, those that understand the importance of tungsten. What makes American Tungsten a really compelling investment today?
For starters, a very healthy balance sheet. We've got over $24 million in the bank today to execute on our promise of becoming the first producer in North America for tungsten. We're on private patented land with water access rights, the cheapest power in North America in Idaho, and a team that's ready to execute. Last but not least, we will be the first producer of tungsten in North America since 2015.
And you at the helm as CEO, Ali Haji of American Tungsten. It's always such a pleasure to have you here with us on Stocks to Watch. Thank you for joining us. And for our viewers, you can check out American Tungsten, as I mentioned earlier, trading on the Canadian Securities Exchange as TUNG, very easy. Over the counter in the US, TUNGF, and the Frankfurt Exchange as RK90. Ali, thanks again.
My pleasure.